Hello, welcome to Smash Hit Sports. I'm Cody, that's Nick, and we have our Bowl Bonanza, the playoff preview. However you want to call it, that's what this is. We are predicting every single bowl game for the entire bowl season. I'm not going to promise that we're going to go in depth on every single bowl game. However, we will at least give a pick for every single game. So before we get started, make sure to like this video. It's a huge help to the podcast, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Now, before we get into the picks and the playoffs, we're going to talk about the playoff first, but Nick and I are doing a bowl pick'em. It's on ESPN. The link is in our Instagram stories, or if you DM us, it's on my Twitter. We will get you the link. It is a bowl pick'em on ESPN, free to enter. Winner gets a $25 gift card to Home Field, which is our absolute best sponsor. So make sure you go check them out.
Link it into the description of the video, yeah?
Yes, and the link will be in the description of the video if you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube. So before we get into the picks, heading into the bowl picks, I am 111-64. Nick is 111-64. So we are dead even headed into the bowl games. You can't, like, people be like, oh, it's rigged. That you can't make that up. We picked, it's documented, it's on our Instagram. We made 170 some picks and we are tied. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely insane. That the Navy pick last week was clutch.
Yeah.
On my end to tie it up. So
yeah, that was absolutely huge. Army, you let me down. So let's start with the playoff preview, Nick. The Friday night game, 8 o'clock, the first game of the 12-team college football playoff. Number 10, Indiana at number 7, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 7.5-point favorite. Over-under is 54.5. I love this game. I love this game.
You're an Indiana guy. You're a resident of the state. This game's perfect for you.
Yes. As a Hoosier, there has never been more buzz around a college football game, especially an interstate college football game, because like Notre Dame has a rivalry with Purdue, but like it's the most lopsided rivalry of all time. I love how much people care about this game. There's a reason that the get-in price is $1,200. Everybody and their mom is trying to go. I think that the environment is going to be second to none when it comes to these playoff matchups. I think it's going to be the best out of the first 4 games. And in terms of how a college football playoff, like I love that we're getting some of these big brands against each other that you don't normally see. A Tennessee and an Ohio State, a Clemson and a Texas. Mm-hmm. But to have 2 teams in the same state play each other, I think is incredibly special. That being said, Nick, I think Notre Dame shit pumps Indiana. Now, obviously, I'm a biased Irish fan. However, Notre Dame by 1 million?
So I have 2 separate thoughts. It's like an angel and a devil on my shoulders when it comes to this game. On one hand, if I take out all of my knowledge and biases about what I know about these 2 teams, you know, Notre Dame very much so eager to win a playoff game. Indiana should just be happy to be there, right? Playing in Notre Dame. Shouldn't really be that close. Notre Dame is also playing fantastic football. They haven't played a lot of teams like Notre Dame. It shouldn't be that close. However, there's something, and maybe it's a little bit of the college basketball fan in me, but it feels like every year March Madness, you're as excited as possible for March Madness, right? Like as one is. And the first 4 games come around, and you're kind of like, all right, this is setting the tone. I don't really care. I'm not sure how many people are actually going to like have a like passionate care inside of them for that game, Notre Dame, Indiana. But they always, those first 4 games always tend to be absolutely electric, and it gets you so hyped that then it actually is almost like the rest of the games aren't as good because you're just like so eager to get there. So that's, for some reason, that's the vibe I'm getting, and what the devil's telling me on my shoulder is that this is going to be a really close game, game of the playoffs type thing, and I'm buying into it, but I can't. I have to go brain over heart here. I just have to. So I'm gonna pick Notre Dame, but I do think it's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, I do want to give Indiana a ton of credit. This is the best coach team I think Notre Dame will play all year. I don't think there's any question about that. Like maybe Texas A&M, but like they're a better coach than USC. Like I'll give the troops their due, but like this is the best coach team Notre Dame has seen all year. This is the best quarterback Notre Dame has potentially seen all season in Curtis Rourke. They saw Connor Wegman in week 1, not incredible. And then
Houston Cougar.
Yeah, like Bryson Daly, but that's a different type of quarterback than what, Curtis Rourke is. So I do have a little bit of hesitation. Elijah Surratt, incredible player. That being said, I think Notre Dame matches up really well with what Indiana does. And that is Indiana is they make big plays offensively. And then on defense, they limit the explosive, they limit the big plays. But Notre Dame, they will grind you to a halt with that running game. They can absolutely do that. And Notre Dame's defense does not allow big plays. Like they just don't. That is what our defense is so damn good. And I understand that people are concerned about Riley Leonard, but
the pass defense is a little more concerning when you think about the lack of passing offenses you've played.
That's fair. And the injuries have hurt us.
Right, and the USC quarterback, who I don't remember his name because it's not Miller Moss.
Mayava.
Yeah, he played well. He looked good against Notre Dame. There have been spots, I believe, like against Louisville. Louisville didn't have really that many problems passing. It was more so such a stout run defense, such a control the time of possession, control the clock type team, just wear you down. But Indiana, I feel like, Cignetti might just not run the ball that much. I really do think this is going to be unbelievably close, but I'm not willing to go Indiana. Notre Dame kind of feels like they have to just go get a playoff win.
Yep.
It's right in front of you. You're at home. Just go get it, and we'll see. I do think Notre Dame could actually make a run too, but this is a tricky one where it could be like 34-31. A bad call kind of decides it. Everyone's like, oh, Indiana got screwed, you know what I mean? But then Notre Dame ends up making a run, well-deserved. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, as a Notre Dame fan, the 7.5 does give me a little bit of concern. I will probably be like doing a touchdown parlay with Notre Dame, like minus 6.5 to get it a little bit juicier. But yeah,
as you should.
This should be a good game. I'm very, very excited for it. SMU Penn State. As much as I want to think that this could be a good game, Penn State wide out. It's a noon kickoff, which I don't love. However, they're doing the wide out. Allard is solid. I think SMU has a shot, but I trust James Franklin and Penn State. I know that's weird to say, but I do.
Too many people are expecting the narrative to continue with Penn State. They can't win the big game. James Franklin's going to choke. Too many people are on that wave. If it was 5 years ago or 3-4 years ago, I think maybe I would be on board there where it's like, I actually have this weird inkling that James Franklin can't win the big game. But now it's such public knowledge that you're telling me SMU is going to go into Happy Valley and win because of it? Yeah. No shot. Same thing as the Notre Dame thing. Penn State, this is their chance and a half. Go get a playoff win. Go get some extra money. Go stamp your resume from a recruiting standpoint that you're an actual competitor. So I really think they're going to win. They also have the defense that can contain Jennings pretty well, I would say, better than Clemson can. I don't think Clemson, TJ Parker's a beast, but they're not great at containing. They're not great at, kind of setting the edge, not letting the quarterback escape. Penn State has the athletes like Abdul Carter and some of those guys.
Abdul Carter's going to be a problem in this game. Like
Yeah.
the SMU's pass protection has not seen a player like Abdul Carter. It is like he's a top 10 pick likely. Like that, you haven't seen an athlete like that. And
he's the best defender since Micah Parsons on that team. And then they have Kevin Winston, at strong safety. He's also going to play a huge part in the contain role. I just don't see a real world where this is that fun of a game. I think it's going to be like, 27-13. Maybe it's 20-13 for a little, and people are like, "Oh, SMU has the ball," but like then they go 4 and out. Penn State scores, game's over.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at with that.
Yep, I like the under in this game. 53.5 is a lot of points.
Yeah,
and I just don't see how they get there. I think this is Penn State's defense. Like Notre Dame is a great defense. Texas is a great defense. Like people talk about Georgia's defense, but Penn State is right up there. They're one of the best in the country. Let's talk about your squad, Nick. The Clemson Tigers at Texas, DK Royal Stadium. I mean, what an atmosphere. 2 orange teams, just a beautiful. It's college football porn. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the narratives here are honestly kind of great. It's K. Klubnik, Westlake High School, won 3 straight state championships over Quinn Ewers' team, right? Quinn Ewers kind of can't beat K. Klubnik, but then again, a lot of the guys on that Westlake team with Klubnik are now on Texas, as tends to happen when you go to high school in Texas. So it's kind of like the fact that I don't think Clemson and Texas have ever played, and in any other year, there wouldn't be any narratives like Clemson's not recruiting out of Texas. It's not a pipeline, but Clemson's most important player happens to have tons of narratives. He's played in that stadium tons of times. Like this is not going to feel as much of a road game as you might think. You also have the sensation of nothing to lose. You really do. Mm-hmm. And that's a real thing. And I said that going into the SMU game, but I think it's actually doubled now. I think there's a world where a lot of the guys on that Clemson Tiger football team, they accepted their defeat and their elimination, and then they got a miracle from God, and then they accepted their defeat again when SMU tied the game up. Before they decided to kick the extra point, they might have thought, they're going to go for 2, they're going to get it, we're screwed, blah, 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 we're out, how do we blow it? You didn't blow it twice. So now, like, the nerves are gone in that sense. From my experience of playing sports, once you have moments where you don't deserve to win per se, and you do, and now you're in this huge moment, that huge moment doesn't feel as pressingly necessary as it does for a Texas team. I think Texas has looked a little suspect, kind of down the stretch. I think Clemson is very capable of actually winning this game. Now, I don't know if I'm going to pick it. I don't know. I'll let you kind of give your spiel first. But
I will say, I love Dabo's quotes coming into this are just all-time prime Dabo Swinney. Like, one of us is going to be preparing for next week, and the other one's going to be preparing for Santa. Like, hell yeah, Dabo. Love that. The vibe that I'm getting from this game is this is either going to be a tight football game that comes down to the wire, or it's going to be over by the third quarter. There's no in between. Like I think this is either going to be a 3-point dogfight, like last possession wins type of game, or Texas blows it wide open. I don't think there's any in between. Like, I don't think this is going to be like, oh, it's like a 10-point game, Clemson had a chance, but they couldn't quite get to it at the end. Like, I just don't see that. Like, I think we're going to get 2 extremes here. We're either going to get an absolute classic or an Astor class. So I'm taking Texas. I do think just top to bottom of one of the best rosters in college football. And for what it's worth, I understand that they did not look great in either game against Georgia. However, Well, I guess, I mean, they took Georgia to overtime in the second game. So it is what it is. But their one loss is to a damn good Georgia team, and they've beaten every other team they've played, and they've looked good doing it. Whereas, like, if Clemson doesn't show up, if the SMU Clemson doesn't show up, and like the Georgia Clemson shows up, or the Louisville Clemson shows up, that gets me very, very concerned. So
No, this is
I'm taking Texas, but
I think there's like a 70% chance that it's one of those games that maybe Texas scores, Clemson looks good, and it's like 10-7, and it's like, oh wow, this could go either way, and then Clemson has a 3rd and 4 at the their own 40-yard line, and Klubnik just grounds the ball at a wide open receiver's feet on a slant. We end up punting. Texas returns the punt 40 yards, scores with ease. And then that's kind of how Clemson's been of late, where very simple plays kind of derail a lot of the progress. So it almost feels like they have to play close to perfect football, at least offensively, for them to win. And the only thing is that I do think that it's possible that happens, because I think Cade Klubnik is going to put on a show. I think that this is set up for him to play his best game maybe ever in college. Mm-hmm. So 30% chance, is that worth it, me taking Clemson? If there's a 30% chance that this is a close, really close game. For me, yes. As a Clemson fan, I have to do it. So I'll go Clemson.
Love it. Love it. I love that. Here's the deal. I would go down with the ship. If that's where you get your first bowl pick'em loss, fuck it. That is.
Yep.
Go down with the boys.
Yeah.
Tennessee at Ohio State. This is such an interesting matchup, because a lot of people are going to argue that Ohio State is one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the college football playoff. There's the other side of this where Tennessee might be the 3rd or 4th best team in the SEC. And yet, I think this game matches up really well. I think what Tennessee does well bodes well in their matchup against Ohio State. Is it just me? I don't think enough people are talking about Tennessee. I really don't.
I don't know. I can't picture it. I've tried to close my eyes and picture Tennessee pulling off this upset. I cannot see it. It just doesn't exist in my brain. And I trust my brain in spots like this. I think that Ohio State, their secondary is daunting. It's incredibly good. If you are to beat Ohio State, I think you have to get a lot of explosive plays. Is Heupel capable of that? Yes, but I think it would have to be on the ground, and I'm just not sure. Even though I do think their running back, I'm blanking on his name, but he's
Sampson. Dylan Sampson.
Yeah, yep. Dylan Sampson. He's incredible, but he's a little different than like the Jordan James type. He's a little more physical, more ground and pound. Not as much of a threat in my eyes. And it's like, will Ohio State make enough mistakes? I don't think Tennessee's been that great at forcing them, So if Tennessee wins, I think Ohio State will have to lose the game, kind of.
Yeah.
But Tennessee just doesn't feel like the team where they can kind of force that to happen. So the only chance is pure luck, in my opinion.
Here's the thing with Tennessee. They've looked not incredible, but they looked good at home. They played really, really well at home against Alabama, at home against Kentucky, UTEP. Like their best games were at home, and it's without a shadow of a doubt. But on the road, they lost to Arkansas. They lost to Georgia. Like that's where their losses came from. They didn't look great against Oklahoma when they went to Norman. They started down 14-0 against Vanderbilt in their final game of the season. I'm concerned that if Tennessee doesn't start hot, they could fizzle out very quickly. That being said, they run the football really well. Michigan ran the football really well. There are a lot of things that I like from Tennessee. The question that I have, and it's really for both of these quarterbacks, is can you step up and make the big time plays in the biggest moments? Because Nico Iamaleava had the chance to do that against Arkansas and he couldn't do it. And he had the chance to do it against Georgia. And like, as much as that Georgia game was hit or miss, like he didn't turn the ball over, but he only had 167 yards passing.
Right.
And Carson Beck, though, you could say that, or not Carson Beck, Will Howard, you could say the same thing about, though. In the biggest moments, he hasn't stepped up. So I'm interested to see. I think Tennessee's front seven is incredible. I'm picking Tennessee in this game.
Wow.
I think we get – I can't go all chalk across the board. And I don't know how dialed in you are to the FCS playoffs, but it's basically been all chalk. Like it's been grossly all chalk through the first couple of rounds of that.
Definitely
so
not dialed in.
But yeah, I just don't – something's got to give. I'm going to give one underdog the pick, and that's going to be Tennessee for me.
Yeah, and I guess for me it's Clemson, right? I didn't pick one in any other spot. I think the closest other one would be Indiana for me. I think I trust Ohio State and Penn State in the spots that they're at. I really just can't see it with Ohio State, Tennessee. I mean, that is – you think about Ohio State's the 8 seed, but they are – if this was ranking on talent, I think they'd be the 1. Mm-hmm. And then we'd be looking at, a 7.5, 8 point spread against 9 seed Tennessee. And it'd be like, well, there's just no way. But it's that 8 seed there that I think a lot of people are like, oh, maybe. I don't know. I don't think I can buy into it.
That's fair. Fair enough. So we're not going to pick the rest of the matchups because I don't want to talk about hypotheticals that could very much just not happen. So what we are going to do is pick a national champ. And we're going to pick a backup national title contender. So let's do 10 points and 5 points. Let's do 10 points, 10 and 5. 10 and 5. So we'll pick the national champion for 10. And if we get our backup national champ right, it counts as 5. So okay. Nick, I will give you the opportunity to go first. Who is your national champion for the 2024 college football season?
Yeah, and this for everybody, this is going, we said we're tied, right? Cody and I are 111 and 64. This, the plus 10, plus 5, that's going to go towards the point total. So in reality, if I were to get the national champion right and you were not, it almost certainly means that I would win, barring a disastrous performance. But I do like it. I like it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 might be a little much, but I think it's fine. I'm going to pick.
We could do like 5 and 3. We could do whatever you want.
What do you think makes the most sense? Like, what's the most fair from a logical math perspective? If there's, we're picking 40 odd games.
Yeah.
If getting the champion right should reward you, but 10 is like, it almost feels like it should be like 8 or 7, but that's just kind of weird.
Do we want to do, we could do 8 and 4, make it half that way?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably safer.
Let's not make it
an 8-game cushion.
Let's do 7 and 3. Let's do 7 and 3.
All right. Okay. Yeah, because I do like that. Maybe that the champion is over half better than getting the backup right.
Yeah.
Okay, 7 and 3. So you have 7. If you get the champion right, you can afford to miss 7 games that say you would get right. All right. So in that scenario, Ohio State is my pick as national. They are my pick. It's strategically probably not the smartest, considering some teams have some easier paths, aka Georgia. But I just feel like what a narrative it would be for Ryan Day to lose to Michigan and then win the national championship. He can't beat Michigan, but who cares anymore, right? Like they just won the Natty. I can see it, so I have to pick it.
I can see it, but it's gross and I don't like it, so I'm not going to pick it. I might get some hate for this pick, but in my preseason preview, I picked the Oregon Ducks to win the national title. And I think I would be a coward and a loser if I did not pick them still, now that they are the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. I think that would be, I can't back out now. I've planted my flag and I'm willing to go down with my ship. So My national champion are the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah. All right. Well, my backup, and I think you'll love this, but I'm going to go Notre Dame.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I hate you because now I'm stuck in a position. I was absolutely going to pick Notre Dame to be my backup. So now I'm in the position where I either have to pick the same backup national champion as you and we're both right, which is chicken shit, or I have to pick against my own team. You're a coward and fuck you, dude. That's so That man, I'm very mad. I'm so mad. You had
wow.
Why did you do that?
This is a live crash out, folks.
That's incredible. And I could pick your team, but your team is the 12th team. So I can't pick I just picked them to lose.
You obviously can't pick Clemson. I would not pick Clemson. God. I can pick Notre Dame because I think that they actually have a better chance than Oregon. I think they are the 4th best team. I think that I refuse to pick Georgia because I do not want to see them win again. So if my options are then the other option would be Texas, if that's what it comes down to, because I'm not picking Penn State. Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, and Notre Dame, 4 best teams in my opinion. Texas is playing Clemson. I could hedge my bets, but I did just pick Clemson to beat Texas. So it is kind of tricky in that sense. I don't want to hedge my bets either because, I don't know. Screw that. I don't want to root for Texas at all because, Clemson's playing them. So Notre Dame, to me, makes the most sense. I completely believe in their ability to do it. I genuinely think they do. They can do it. And I don't think it's that bad if you pick them as well. I really don't.
I can't do it.
Let me make my case real quick because say you don't and then Notre Dame does win and you were up by 1 going into the national championship game in the scores.
Yeah.
And you don't pick Notre Dame and I get it right. I get 3 points, you lose. So you, by picking Notre Dame.
But then I'm a national champion. You want to talk about hedging your bets?
You're a national champion, sure. But you also would be playing defense by saying, hey, you pick Notre Dame. Guess what? So did I. I win. You fucker. That's the case right there. If you wanted to do it, it's not like we're picking the same team. It would be a defensive play. A fair play considering that's your team. But do what you will. Do what you will.
I can't do it. But what I am going to do is give you the biggest middle finger I can. So I'm going to pick Texas. Fuck you. The only thing I don't like about that is Texas and Oregon being on the same side of the bracket now puts me in a position where, no matter what, there's going to be a national title winner that I can't get. Whereas, I guess you have the same with Ohio State and Notre Dame, though. So
no, I don't because Ohio State would be playing.
Oregon. They are. You're right. Damn. Well, fuck it. I got Texas. We're in. Yeah. We're dialed in.
You could also argue that let's say it's Oregon, Texas in the semifinal. You're at minimum 1. I don't have Ohio State, so you're in the lead in that sense. 2, there's a good chance I don't have Notre Dame either, and you guaranteed have a team.
That's fair. That's fair. I love it. All right. But before we get into the bowl picks, a reminder: number 1, sign up for the bowl Pickem, please. It's free. I want to give you guys the gift card. I think I came in 3rd last year. Nick, I think you came in 8th. So, of 100 people.
Did really well last year.
Yeah, it was true ball knowers. So go show us that you know ball. Join the bowl Pickem. That also home field. My Christmas gifts are starting to come in that I purchased for people. So home field apparel, go check them out. Use code Nick15 for 15% off your first purchase. Link is in the description of this video or in our bios. Go check them out. All right. That being said, the bowl picks. Some of these we're going to breeze through. By the time you're listening to this, one of these is going to be over. But that being said, we're gonna dive into some, not dive into others. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't think it would be for you, the viewers, a great 3-hour podcast. But we will have timestamps for all of these. So if you are looking for a specific bowl game, if you're looking for your team, go to the timestamp, check it out. So Nick, starting with the Frisco Bowl, Memphis, West Virginia. This game is over by the time the people are listening to this podcast, so we're not going to get too much discussion on it. I do think, however, this could be a pretty fun game. West Virginia now has Rich Rod as their head coach, so I think the vibes are high. Memphis ended their season on a strong note, beating Tulane at the end in their last game of the regular season. Who do you got?
Yeah, so this is the interim head coach effect.
Yes.
And I am a massive believer in that, and therefore will be riding with it. I'm going to take West Virginia with some confidence because it is insane how hard guys play for their interim head coach. I don't know what it is. There's a little magic in the air for just like a week, and I can see it happening.
Well, I am going to do the opposite. I'm going to take Memphis. I like Memphis here. I think they ended the season strong. And if you're going to give me the team that fired their head coach versus the team that didn't, I kind of like Memphis here. So I'm taking Memphis in the Frisco Bowl. Also, it does feel weird not starting out bowl season with the Bahamas Bowl. I don't love it.
Is that what normally happens? I'm not.
Yeah, normally the Bahamas Bowl is the first bowl game, and this year it's not. It's the last bowl game.
The Birmingham Bowl, was that the first one? South Alabama?
Oh yeah, that is right. Which I guess if you're listening to this, there has been one bowl game played or two bowl games, the Celebration Bowl. And then South Alabama. So I'm sorry we didn't get that one. If you're a South Alabama or Western Michigan fan.
But we both got that right in the bowl pick'em. So
yes, we did. So start out undefeated. But yeah, normally it's the Bahamas Bowl, and it's not this year. Don't love it. We'll see how I feel, though, at like having it end bowl season because it's January 4th. So that being said, Boca Raton Bowl, Western Kentucky, JMU. You may feel a little bit more strongly about this than I do. But I like both of these teams. They played really well this season. Western Kentucky ended their season pretty strong, so I'm going to stick with Western Kentucky.
And I am going JMU. I'm riding with, the supporting the family. My sister graduated from JMU. They got a good football team. Good football there. There's some magic. Talk about magic. JMU, I thought they were going to fall off, Cody. I think we both did. We were like, JMU without Signetti, they're done. Somehow they're good still. I don't get it.
Yeah, they've done a really tremendous job keeping the magic of JMU alive, as you would say.
Right.
The LA Bowl, I really, really like this matchup for some reason. Justin Wilcox and Cal against UNLV, who Barry Odom was hired as the head coach of Purdue. We'll do a recap about the coach hirings and firings at the end of the season. But I like that hiring. And
Dan Mullen over to
UNLV. Dan Mullen at UNLV. So I don't think he's going to be super involved. I think he's more doing some of the recruiting stuff now. And I think their current staff is going to coach the bowl game. However, I kind of think they're live in this one. This should be a really good game, like 9:00 kickoff. I'm excited for this. I'm going Cal, but I think this has a potential to be like a very early, like, oh shit, it's bowl season and these games are fun type of bowl game.
Yeah, I'm going Cal as well. It feels like it's been too much of a fun season for Cal. Like the Calgorithm, the Miami game. Just like normally, Cal Berkeley is just not spoken about during college football or college. Like it's just a school that doesn't exist. But this year they kind of they had game day, right? Like it feels like it would be a bit too tragic to end this season 6-7 with a bowl loss to a Mountain West team. Like you got to go take care of business. I think, the coaching staff over there should be able to use that as motivation. I believe Cal should be able to win.
Yep. I agree. Should be a fun bowl game. December 19th, my birthday, mark your calendars, say happy birthday to me or you're fake. The New Orleans Bowl, Georgia Southern, Sam Houston State. Don't really feel super confident about either one of these teams. But I will say that there were points in this season where both Sam Houston State and Georgia Southern were solid. There that being said, the line on this game, Sam Houston State is a 6-point dog. It's just about a 50-50 split on who's picking them in the bowl Pickem. So I'm going to go with Georgia Southern. Just give me the favorite here. Night game, like the New Orleans Bowl. This might be a top 5 bowl game to go to as a fan to get drunk at, but
Sure.
I don't know about watching. So give me Georgia Southern.
Yep, and I as well am going Georgia Southern. I believe they're like 1-9 in their last 10 bowl games. They've lost like 4 or 5 straight. Now they're a decent favorite. It feels like this is kind of a must-have for them, right? Like, think about the psyche of losing every bowl game you get into. You got to start taking advantage of the ones you're favored in. So yeah, I feel pretty good about Georgia Southern.
Yep, fair. December 20th, we have 2 bowl games. The first is the Cure Bowl, Ohio at Jacksonville State. Nick, is a head coach leaving for another job, does that still count as like the interim bump, or is it only when the head coach gets fired?
But it depends if the head coach is coaching that game, right? Is Barry Odom going to coach the bowl game for UNLV?
I don't think so.
He's not.
Yeah.
Okay. So then that actually, you would argue, is the interim head coach effect over there. Too late to change, sadly. But yeah, it depends. It depends. If this is the and I will say, I think for the most part, it is far more accurate when there's a firing. I think if it's like a mutual parting of ways and blah blah blah, then it kind of just feels like whatever. We had a good year. You kind of have to feel like our head coach is gone. We can finally be unleashed. That kind of has to be your mentality. So if you're not fired, or if you had a good season, there's no reason to think like that. So it's tough. But I don't know. I have no idea what the lore is between Jacksonville State and Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know if there is any. Jacksonville State, Rich Rod, obviously left that job for West Virginia.
Okay.
I like Ohio here. They played well. MAC championship, Battle of the Bricks. Like, give me Ohio. Give me Ohio. I like what they did all season. They didn't, come home with the MAC title, but damn it, they played some good football. So
my logic here is that Chalamet obviously was the only one to pick Ohio in the MAC championship game, and everyone else picked Miami, Ohio, and then they were like, "Oh, Lisan Al-Gaib.
Yeah.
He knows more than any of us." And I think that just maybe brought a little bit too much, memetic culture craze to the team, to Ohio, that it's very possible. I have no idea, but I have a theory that maybe Ohio's getting a little boost in public betting for no good reason. Because let's be real, who the hell knows with this game?
Timothy Chalamet, do we have his picks? Exactly, do we know his picks?
Right? So, but that's the thing, is that I feel like people are going to be like, oh, so Ohio is actually good. Timmy Chalamet, he knows ball. And then it's like, yeah, but that's not really how it works. Like, they beat their MAC rival. This is an out-of-conference game. Have these teams ever played? Jacksonville State plays a very unique style of football, very anti-MAC, you could argue. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Jacksonville State.
Love it. The Gasparilla Bowl. I think this could be a shit pumping. Tulane, Florida, the Gasparilla Bowl. This game is played in Florida, I believe. I think Florida could dog walk here because DJ Lagway is going to play, and this team, they were firing on all cylinders at the end of the year. And you ended the year like wins against Ole Miss, wins against Florida State, like wins again. Like Florida was cooking, and Tulane I don't think was on the right trajectory. Their quarterback transferred out, so that is a huge thing to note. He went to Duke.
Yeah, he went to Duke. Yeah.
So Florida by like 30. Which
good for Duke, by the way. Right? Great season, and now you go get a fantastic quarterback in the portal off the bat. This is the weird thing about bowl games. This is why these are so hard to pick. It is you kind of have to find out. You have to convince yourself, why is this team gonna care? Because there are a lot of reasons for teams to not really care.
Mhm.
And in this scenario, I think Florida, having the media say there's no way they make a bowl game, having guys like us say, I would be shocked if they made a bowl game. Their win total's 4.5. Their schedule is far too hard. They are incompetent, and everyone's going to get fired. But no, they actually did make a bowl game. So I would have to assume, chip on your shoulder, go beat the living daylights out of Tulane, and kind of stamp this as maybe the best 7-6 season ever played in college football.
Florida's last 5 games were against Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and then Florida State.
Yeah, and then they also very well should have beat Tennessee, right?
Yeah, they
Miami
took Tennessee to overtime in Neyland Stadium.
They could have, if they just went for 2. You got to go for 2 there, but so I do think like this could be the best 7-6 team to ever play, but you got to go win it first.
Yep.
I think they will.
So, give us Florida. December 21st is the college football playoff games. So round 2, not going to talk about those. We'll next week's episode, after this week's recap, we'll break them down. December 23rd, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Coastal Carolina getting to play at their home stadium in the Myrtle Beach Bowl is very funny to me. But I kind of love it. I kind of love it. It's kind of cool. I don't know.
I didn't know that. I could have easily assumed, given the name, but I did not. I kind of went right past me. So I picked UTSA. This is sort of a, Jeff Traylor, UTSA, a little underwhelming season. Go finish it off with a bang. Coastal Carolina, you've had your media spotlight. Whatever, who cares? But they're at home, so that's tricky. But I'm going to go UTSA. I just kind of wish I knew that.
See, I am like in the reverse psychology of my brain, where I think UTSA actually they're like, hey, we're on vacation. We're going to Myrtle Beach. Let's win a football game. Whereas like Coastal Carolina's like, man, we got a bowl game. We have to go to all these extra practices, and it's just like another home game. Like we don't get to go anywhere cool or do anything unique.
Love that.
That's the fun part of some of these bowl games is getting to go to places and play in different venues. And like Coastal's like, oh yeah, we just get another game at home that we have to practice all the way up until right before Christmas for.
Yeah, you're living at your, you're in your dorm rather than staying at the team hotel playing hotel tag with the boys.
Yeah,
stuff from the vending machines. But no. Yeah, all the other Coastal Carolina people, they're just living it at home.
You get it.
That's a great take.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. Like I said, you got to find reasons. You got to find reasons in bowl season. It's tricky.
Yep. Give me UTSA. Love it.
Right. Okay, we're both on it.
The Idaho Potato Bowl, NIU and Fresno State. This might have been one of the most holy fuck. I do not know who to pick. So I'm picking Northern Illinois solely because if Notre Dame loses to a team that didn't even win their bowl game, I'm going to kill myself. So NIU.
Yeah. Which again, I do think Northern Illinois is probably going to get a little too much public love because everyone's going to be like, oh, well, that's the team that beat Notre Dame, right? Like a casual fan who does not follow college football deeply would know that Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame and then they probably haven't heard anything from them. And then now they're in a bowl game. They don't care what their record is. Nothing matters. They beat Notre Dame, so Northern Illinois, they're going to win, right? I hate that. So I want to pick Fresno State, but I won't pick Fresno State because I've watched Fresno State play, and I don't think they're very good. And I feel lucky to have that opinion because if not, I probably would have picked Fresno State.
Yep, I agree with you there. December 24th, Christmas Eve, the Hawaii Bowl. You get San Jose State, who, a little hop, skip, and a jump over to a place that they're pretty familiar with over in Hawaii. And South Florida, who makes one hell of a flight over to Hawaii. 61.5 is a huge, huge total. But give me San Jose State here. Something about I understand travel, it's a vacation, it's a bowl game, whatever. there's something different for like San Jose State playing a Hawaii very frequently versus USF. So
Yeah, no, that is true, right? Like, you like Texas San Antonio traveling to Myrtle Beach. That maybe that's a 3-hour, 45-minute flight, whatever it is.
mm-hmm.
But you can get there. But Southern Florida to Hawaii is like going to frickin' Timbuktu. It's like going from where we are right now to Bangladesh. I mean, that there's a difference there. It's that you're gonna have some jet lag. You're gonna be dealing with some strange feelings. So, but my problem here though is that USF last year in their bowl game won handed, like they fucking kicked the shit out of Syracuse, right? It was like 40-0 against an ACC team.
Yeah,
and
that was like the firing of
result.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I'm gonna go with USF, is because if you can prove to me as a coach, Alex Golesh, that like you can get your team up for a bowl game, then you can get your team up for a bowl game. And you're going to use this travel as an adversity complex, and they're going to play their hearts out and they're going to win. That's my logic.
I love that. I love that. Truthfully, I think like Alex Golesh, I mean, there's a reason I picked USF as my group of 5 team to make the college football playoff headed into the season, because I believed in Alex Golesh that much. So I don't hate that pick at all. Don't hate that pick at all. Next, we have the Game Above Sports Bowl, which no idea where that was located until I just Googled it. And I think it is pertinent information. It's at Ford Field. So in Detroit, Mac Country for Pitt and Toledo on December 26th. Here's what I will say about this game. Toledo, solid team. Pitt has lost 5 straight.
They look terrible. Pitt is terrible football.
Terrible. The Eli Holstein magic has run all the way out. Give me Toledo.
Nice. I, as a pro ACC, member of society, who also witnessed Clemson need a miracle to beat Pitt during that 5-game losing streak. And that was the worst coach game I've ever seen in my life from
Narduzzi. Yeah, that was bad.
I mean, and they still almost won. So yes, Pitt's reeling. Yes, they look terrible, but give them a huge break, and they're playing a MAC team. I don't care where it is. Give me the Pitt Panthers. Okay. Easy.
Don't hate it. The Guaranteed Rate Bowl. This game I'm really interested in because I think this game could be a lot of fun. Rutgers, Kansas State. I kind of love this matchup. Like Kyle Monangai of Rutgers, running back. Like Kansas State is they were a team that I was super, super high on. And unfortunately, like I don't, it didn't happen. It didn't come to fruition. But that doesn't mean that Kansas State is a bad football team. I think this game could be a lot of fun. Like I think this is a game that like it reminds me, remember the Arizona Oklahoma game, the Pop-Tarts Bowl last year? And we were just like, holy shit. Like this game was incredible. Yeah. I think this game, the day after Christmas, could have those kinds of vibes. I think this game could have those kinds of vibes. So give me Rutgers, Kansas State. Or give me Kansas State. However, fun game.
Yeah, I'm going Kansas State as well. I love the takeaway. I don't know if I can buy into Rutgers, being a part of a game like that. It's just hard to believe. But we will see. I do think Kansas State really is the better team, and their season's almost unexplainable. They should have done a lot better than they did. They beat Colorado. They beat Kansas when Kansas was hot. They kicked the shit out of, West Virginia. They beat Tulane. Like, they had a good year. But then you lose to Houston. You lose to Arizona State. You lose to Iowa State to close your season out. Now you're playing Rutgers in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. And it's like, they're clearly better. They're better.
Yeah. Yep. I'll agree with that. The 68 Ventures Bowl, Arkansas State at Bowling Green. My only hope for this game is that Harold Fannin Jr. plays. That's the only thing I care about. If he plays, I'm going to watch the game. And if he doesn't play, I'm not going to watch this game. So with that being said, Bowling Green. Give me Bowling Green.
Yeah. Bowling Green's my darling. They were my darling this year. And
yep.
Golly, did they have a great year, Cody? I mean,
yeah,
it kind of sucks how under the radar, because 7-5 certainly doesn't deserve praise, but you played A&M and Penn State so close. Could have won either game. Bonkers. And then you win pretty much every MAC game you play until the final game that you just needed to win to make the MAC championship game, and you blew it. And so now we're talking about a 7-5 Bowling Green team, which is like whatever. But no, they're still my darling. I love them. Of course I'm picking them.
Yep. I'm with you on that pick. December 27th, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, which might be the most correctly sponsored bowl game of all time, to have the Armed Forces Bowl be sponsored by Lockheed Martin. Oklahoma at Navy.
Where are you going?
I kind of feel bad for the troops. I think Oklahoma might fucking kick the shit out of them.
Okay.
Oklahoma's a weird team because they're Jackson Arnold not playing right. He entered the transfer portal. He's
garbage. He's a terrible.
He's headed to Auburn.
Poor Auburn. Feel bad for them.
Which Hugh Freeze is gone after next year anyway. I don't know how to feel about this Oklahoma squad. Navy, this is my thought. Navy is coming off of the highest of highs, the most emotional win you can get, and that is upsetting Army in the Army-Navy game and capping off what has been truly a phenomenal season for Navy, like a legitimately incredible season. I just think they've already hit their peak emotionally, so that's why I'm taking Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think this is actually one that I believe. I've been convinced, I'm standing my ground. Obviously we made these picks before the bowl game started, and I want to keep most of them, but that is just sound logic in my opinion. This is also Brent Venables, 6-6 Oklahoma, kind of fighting for your fucking life. Like your job is on the line. You gotta go beat Navy. You have to. Like, that's not – I feel like it's almost inexcusable to lose a bowl game to an American team unless you are losing on purpose because go troops. So,
yep.
I think I like Oklahoma here. I also think that it makes too much sense for people to be picking Navy because they watch the Army-Navy game and they're like, well, look, they're good. So, and Oklahoma, they're the team everyone thinks about when it's like they lost to Boise – right? Like, I'm going to pick this big Power 5 upset. Like, Navy over Oklahoma. It just feels a little too obvious. And you convinced me. I'm glad you did. I'm glad we talked it through.
Yep. Hey, that was a good chat. That was a good chat. We did some good there. The Birmingham Bowl, Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's a 2.5-point dog. Haynes King versus Diego Pavia is going to be absolutely electric.
Underrated
I think
this game top
a lot
10.
of fun.
Yeah. I'm
picking Vanderbilt, but this game, you flip a coin. It could go either way. I love this matchup. I think this is one of the most intriguing matchups of bowl season.
I completely agree. I'm picking Georgia Tech, but while I was making the graphic, right, I put all of my picks into the graphic. I was like, ooh, I should change this to Vanderbilt. Just off the aura of Vandy is finally back in a bowl game, and but the problem is then I remembered that Georgia Tech will be a month removed from the most heartbreaking loss you could really imagine in 8 overtimes versus your bitter rival.
Yep.
On the road. Like, that is your best chance to do the most historic thing, and you getting pissed it away. You had every chance in the world, and so you're telling me that they're just gonna lose to Vanderbilt? You know what I mean? Just this team, Georgia Tech beat Miami. They should have beat Georgia. obviously Vandy beat Alabama. Yeah, like Vandy's a good team, but this feels like Georgia Tech actually has a lot more to play for. So I'm going with them.
Yep. Another game at 7:00 that I think is going to be a ton of fun. December 27th, a good day for bowl games. The Liberty Bowl, Texas Tech, Baron Morton against Arkansas. This game is a 1-point spread. Arkansas is the favorite, but I mean this game also could be a pick 'em. I love this matchup. I think this could be so much like Texas Tech versus Arkansas just feels like a good bowl game.
Yeah, feels right. Arkansas, I think, is just a little too like sped. You know what I mean? Like they're truly. It's just a dumb team that did dumb things all year. They beat Tennessee. Whoop-de-doo. I don't think they're. I just don't think they're coached well enough. I think Texas Tech is. Nah, I don't even think Texas Tech's that good, but I'm going to pick them.
Yep, I'm picking Texas Tech here as well, just because I have to ride with my boy, ride with my boy Baron Morton. But I like this matchup a lot. Like this game could be a shootout, and I think that's a lot of fun.
They don't defend, that's for sure. And then obviously, Taylor Green's electric. So
yeah, Taylor Green. So this could be an electric off for sure. The Holiday Bowl, Syracuse at Washington State. Nick, before you make your pick, I want to make a very distinct notice. John Mateer, who had just an unbelievable season for Washington State, 3,139 passing yards, 826 rushing yards, and he had 44 total touchdowns, has entered the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So he will not be the starting quarterback at Washington State. Quite frankly, don't know who will be. So give me Syracuse. That was the one reason that I was excited to watch this game. Like Mateer versus McCord would have been fireworks. And now I think it's just going to be one-sided.
I'm glad that he's going to the transfer portal, though, because being on Washington State is stupid.
He was not getting the shine he deserved.
And he is absolutely good enough to play for – I mean, wherever he goes,
he's going to go to Oklahoma. He's going to go to Oklahoma.
That's incredible. So I love that for Oklahoma. Good for you, Venables. But yeah, I was thinking about Washington State. Then I saw the spread, Syracuse minus like 450. It's like, oh, okay. I'm not a big enough, adrenaline junkie to dare, take a plus 400 underdog in bowl season. I don't know. Can't do it. But I do think it could happen. It's just that's a little too big of a spread to take that risk.
Yep, I agree. So I'm rolling with Syracuse. And then the Las Vegas Bowl, which I believe we had a really good Las Vegas Bowl last year, if I remember correctly.
Do not remember who played in what bowl last year at all.
But this year, USC at Texas A&M, which is going to be Jaden Mayava at quarterback for USC, who he looked good against Notre Dame. This could be a really fun bowl game. 10:30 kickoff, but I kind of like this matchup. I think this could be one of the better bowl games.
I love this matchup. I think both these teams are going to try, right? When you get two power teams, there's always the risk of especially these big brands, right? Like you didn't make the playoff. Are you going to, really care? I think yes. I think Mikey Elko first year, there's a lot of fan base kind of excitement work that needs to be done at all times. And if you're a first year coach, you don't want to be that guy that kind of just pisses away a bowl game. So he's going to try. However, USC in the same light, I think is they kind of want to prove that they were better than their record because they were. Mm-hmm. If you look at a lot of these power rankings I talk about, Cody, they're top 20. They're a top 20 team, and they're 6-6. And they were leading in every game they played in the fourth quarter outside of the Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
So the final game of the season, going into that game, they had a lead in the fourth quarter in all 5 of the losses they had. And then they actually kept it pretty close against Notre Dame. They were driving down 7. USC's good. They have an argument to be the best 7-6 team ever. I'm going to pick USC.
Nick, what percentage of people in the bowl pick'em do you think picked USC as a 3.5-point dog? This pick'em is they picked a money line, right? They picked them to win the game. But USC being a 3.5-point dog, what percentage of people do you think picked USC?
I mean, clearly below 50, but unless it's above somehow, but I doubt it. So I would say 38%.
10%.
10%.
10% of the people picked USC.
What?
Not only are you among that 10%, but so am I. I just don't. I'm also taking USC. That's shocking. Why is everybody on Texas A&M?
Well, that might be the play of the year if that fucking stays, because that is a fade the public masterclass.
Yeah.
Holy cannolis, dude. That's insane. I mean, yeah, I should go place a gajillion dollars on it right now.
Responsibly, of course.
Yeah, gajillion cents.
Before we get into the next bowl games, it's college basketball season. College basketball was doing its absolute thing. I'm going to try to get up and watch Notre Dame girls game. The tickets for the UConn game this past week were absurdly expensive, but Notre Dame's women's team, they've got some dogs.
I watched a little bit of that.
Yeah.
That game. And Notre Dame won, right?
Yeah. Yep. Beat UConn. So watch out. National title. Here we come. That being said, if you want to go check out a game, SeatGeek, use promo code SmashHitsSports, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Go check out these games. All right. Fenway Bowl. Nick, this is going to be a very quick justification for me. How fucking hyped do you think that locker room is, knowing that Bill Belichick is going to be their head coach next year? Give me North Carolina by a fucking billion.
So you could argue interim head coach rule here, but it's not. It's actually the opposite. Because you have an interim head coach that actually does not matter in the slightest. The guy that's going to be calling the shots for this game is a guy off the street for all you care. Joe Schmo Mago, he's gone. Next season is on the horizon, and you have Belichick coming in, and you have to go play UConn and whatever, right? UConn's going to win this game. They're going to win.
I hate that. I love it, and I hate it, and I love it, but I hate it.
That plus 110.
That's fair. That's fair. Fuck. I gotta ride with UNC though. Bill Belichick though, if you would have put 2 years ago, you travel blast back into the past and say Notre Dame. You're gonna say Nick Saban is gonna be one of the most fun members on College Game Day, and also Bill Belichick's gonna be the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, and he's coaching against Bill O'Brien. In 2025, they're Belichick versus O'Brien in the ACC Week 8. Be there or be square 3 years from now.
Nuts, absolutely nuts.
Saban on the call.
Yep,
crazy.
Jeez. The Pinstripe Bowl, Boston College, Nebraska. This game's being played in Fenway Park, so it is going to be a home game, or not Fenway Park. Sorry, Yankee Stadium. So Boston College, Nebraska. I'm going to be honest. Castellanos entered the transfer portal. I don't think that this Boston College team is worth a fuck. Give me Nebraska. I think Nebraska beats them by 2 touchdowns. I don't think this game's close. I think Nebraska whoops them.
Think about, if we're talking about you got to find a narrative, you got to find a reason. You don't even have to look for Nebraska.
No, they've wanted this forever.
This is the damn Super Bowl for Nebraska. I honestly think that stadium might be 80% Nebraska fans. It's a home game for no, I don't think so. I think that's going to be Nebraska everywhere. Boston College just does not care.
Yep.
This means everything. They're going to win, definitely. Yeah. Free.
Nebraska's last bowl win.
Before I was born.
No, not before you were born. Is against UCLA in 2015.
Okay. Close.
Almost a decade. It was December 26th, 2015. So it'll be
their last bowl appearance was the year after.
Yes.
Correct. So
correct.
I think that matters almost a little bit more.
Yeah.
That it's just been, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, no bowl game. Any of those years. Die-hard, passionate fan base. failure. So just being back, this is as important as ever, right? The last win doesn't even matter to them.
Yep. Keeping it moving. The New Mexico Bowl, Louisiana, TCU. Okay, cool. Give me TCU, I guess.
Yeah, they're like
this game.
Billion.
Yeah, sandwiched between the Nebraska game and the Iowa State Miami game is just not. I don't care. I'm sorry.
Yep. Neither do I. I'm also going TCU, obviously.
Okay. Pop-Tarts Bowl. I'm excited for this one. I think the Pop-Tarts Bowl, first off, did you see the trophy is a working toaster? Like it's a football, and then it's a working toaster at the top that you can put Pop-Tarts in.
That's freaking awesome.
They're going to have 3 mascot Pop-Tarts there that are all going to be edible.
No way.
Yes. If you are the bowl like people, what you do is you take every bowl game and you look at the fucking Pop-Tarts Bowl and you go, see what they're fucking doing? You do that. Do this. Be crazy. Be nuts. That's what makes bowl season special. It's like Feast Week in college basketball where you have all these crazy tournaments and like Maui having like you're playing in hotel, ballrooms.
Ballrooms. Yeah.
This is what makes college football excellent. The stuff like the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I love what they're doing. And it's great.
Bowl with which I believe is the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl now, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
They Clemson was recently in it, funny enough, against Iowa State. And they give you the Cheez-It hats and everyone's walking around. Everyone in the stadium's just wearing a cracker on their head and the Cheez-It mascots out. And you do the Mayo dump, right? Which is awesome in its own right. You do it with Cheez-Its. It's fantastic. I completely agree. Growing up, Florida would always play in the Outback Bowl. And I'm a big Outback Steakhouse guy, so that was always fun because you had the Blooming Onion mascot, which is hilarious. Yep. And you basically just get a free Blooming Onion. You just say you're the fan of the team that won. So, yeah, it bothers me that there aren't, there are so many, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl and shit that it's just dude, what about, this sponsor is the lamest thing.
Yeah, make it fun. It should be fun.
Fun now. But, we'll go. You go.
I believe Cam Ward is playing in this game, correct? I've not seen that he's not. And based on him going live with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter prior to the Heisman ceremony, it sounded like all of them were playing in the bowl games. So
wow.
I love this. Make bowl game this could be an incredibly fun game. So I'm going to pick Miami based on the fact that I think Cam Ward is just going to be hey, I've never had any more I just get to go out and play football for fun before the NFL draft. I'm just going to fucking sling it. Why not? What are they going to do? Not draft me high? Give me Miami. I think they're going to have so much this. This is probably the bowl game that I am the most excited for outside of the playoff. I think this bowl game is the one I am the most dialed into.
Yeah. I did not know that Cam Moore was going to be playing, and I was picking Miami anyway. I just am so anti-Iowa State. I think they just stink, and I freaking hate them. So I was going to pick Miami anyway, but yeah, now it just feels like, the pressure's off, kind of like what I was saying with Clemson in the playoff. Miami, battle your demons. You lost to Syracuse. You watched the ACC championship game. You're like, that should have been us, blah, blah, blah. Now it's just dude, whatever. We're all seniors. We're all leaving. This is a fun season. We live in frickin' Miami. Let's go play some ball. Our offense is unstoppable. It's going to be great.
Yep.
I'm going Miami as well.
Yeah. I think it's going to be so much fun. Sling the ball around. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, which I believe is the Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice Arizona Bowl.
I think that's the one that the Pardon My Take sponsors as well.
They used to. They're not doing it this year. So that's why it's the Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
I think this could be one of those where you're watching it and they're just doing shit on the broadcast. You're just like, what is this? But I'm going to love it. That being said, buddy of mine coaches for Miami of Ohio, so I have to ride. Give me the Red Hawks. That being said, I actually think Colorado State wins this game. But go Red Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Colorado State believer, but Miami, Ohio let me down pretty aggressively. Um, it's a really close spread. Um, I'm going to go Colorado State. I feel like I've been fading the Mountain West a little aggressively, and I feel kind of bad about that. Um, and Miami, Ohio, well, whatever, man. It's a freaking MAC team, dude. They're always in these weird bowl games. They'll be in another one next year. It doesn't matter to them.
Yep. Yep. Don't hate that at all. The Military Bowl, East Carolina and North Carolina State. Cool, like kind of a rivalry, I guess, but not really. But whatever. NC State has to have like 6-6 for them. You got to be so disappointed. So I think this is kind of like a Dave Doran pride game. So give me NC State, but like I don't have a ton of conviction here.
Yeah, I mean, NC State could have lost to Western Carolina. Now they're playing Eastern Carolina, who's better, right? Like, this is an NC State team that could lose to anybody, and they could lose to an FCS team. The spread is one of those spreads where it's like you kind of have to favor NC State because they're a Power 5 team. But in reality, I think the deep analytics would favor East Carolina. I do. So I'm going to go East Carolina because I think NC State's just really bad.
Yep. We have next up the Alamo Bowl, which is 17 BYU against 23 Colorado. To my knowledge, BYU is out there slinging the rock. And I also think Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are playing as well. They didn't play in the regular season, but this is a Big 12 battle. Colorado's a 3-point favorite. I think this game, like 7:30 kickoff, everything about this game just screams that it could be an awesome, awesome football game. I'm very excited. The last time that two teams played in a conference bowl game, I believe is 2015 Nevada versus Colorado State in the Mountain West. And the last time a Power 5 team played in the same conference in a bowl game was 1971.
Wow.
So,
who was it?
It was Ole Miss and Auburn.
Wow. Weird.
So, an interesting tidbit there. But I'm excited for this game. Should be good.
Yep. I was going to counter your sentiment about Iowa State Miami and say that if Shedeur and Travis Hunter play, and the Jew at BYU plays, which
the Jew at BYU. Very eloquently said, Nick.
Thank you very much. Very poetic of me. But yeah, I basically would argue that to me is the most exciting game in the sense that Colorado's. I don't think they're going to defend. I think if Shedeur and Travis play this game, like I think Dion is probably preaching to everyone, like, hey, just go have fun. I think he genuinely doesn't care win or lose. I'm not sure he does. I think he's a great coach, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's right. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like he's just like, hey guys, like, go have fun. It's a little vacation. You guys are playing with each other maybe for the last time ever. Like, if we let up 70 points but score 71, sweet. And that mindset to me just feels like BYU. They had a team of destiny vibe. They're probably trying to put a stamp on this season more so than Colorado, who just got Travis Hunter the Heisman, and to fade the public play because so many people are going to finally be buying into that Colorado hype now, which of course is going to fail because that's how Vegas works. To me, just too many things. Yeah, too many things line up for BYU to win.
This game seems like a Shedeur Sanders has 300 yards passing. Travis Hunter has 12 for 150 and 4 touchdowns, and BYU wins 42-35.
Yeah,
like,
I think that could be exactly right.
Yep. So I am also taking BYU there. I think it's a solid pick for sure. The Independence Bowl wouldn't have originally talked about this game heavily, except we have to talk about Marshall and how fucking bad they are at running their athletics program. The story behind Marshall and what is going on is So their head coach has had the opportunity to be extended at like as a part of this season. He was not. They just didn't extend him, which is absolutely crazy because coming into the season, like under Charles Huff, they went 10-3.
Yeah.
Like they went 10-3 and won the Sun Belt.
Well,
Like they
are they even? They're not even playing in this game anymore, are they?
no. So they have had. So what happened is they Charles Huff, who's been has been great for them. Truly, 32-20, 615 winning percentage for them. Like he's been there for 3 years. I thought he's done a really good job at Marshall, and they don't bring him back. They then lose. So he goes to Southern Miss in conference. A Southern Miss team that won like 2 games this year goes to Southern Miss, and the entire team enters the transfer portal.
Oh my god.
The entire team. So much so that they did not think that they had enough players to play in this game and therefore opted out of the bowl game.
Wow.
And a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, college football and the transfer portal is ending bowl games because of this situation." That's not this at all. That's Marshall being so fucking incompetent, and their AD not being able to figure out a contract extension with this guy is just absolutely insane. So Marshall, you're fucking idiots. And now 5-7 Louisiana Tech gets to play in Shreveport. Basically, this is a home game against Army in the Independence Bowl.
Yeah, but home game, schmome game, Louisiana Tech stinks. I do think this would be the funniest thing ever if Louisiana Tech won.
Yeah.
You know? Because, they are so not good. Like, it would feel like a 16 seed beating a 1 in March Madness. It would just be like that is, it can't happen. Obviously Army wouldn't be a 1, but this has got to be the biggest spread of the entire bowl season.
It is 16.5. It's the biggest spread in the entire bowl season. I don't think this game is going to be close. Army coming off a loss against their arch rival Navy. They don't want to end their season losing 3 of their last 4 games, or I guess they did win the American Conference. So losing 3 of their last 5.
It doesn't even. We don't have to even justify anything.
No, they don't want to end after a loss to Navy. No, they're going to beat the piss out of Louisiana Tech.
Yeah. Okay. Iowa plays in the Music City Bowl for like the 9th time in 10 years.
Hey Cody, describe to your kids college football, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, like all this cool stuff happens in NIL, blah blah blah, and then Iowa plays in the Music City Bowl, and that's just what happens. They just they play in the Music City Bowl.
A bunch of different colleges, and they all play a season, and then at the end, Iowa plays in the Music City Bowl.
Yep.
And everybody claps their hands, and then the season's over.
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like, wasn't it last year or 2 years ago that they were almost paired up with Kentucky again in the Music City Bowl?
Yes.
Like
yeah, it would have been like back to back.
And then it was like, oh my God. So like Iowa boycotted it. It was like, hey, we're not going to play in the Music City Bowl. Put us somewhere else. Or Kentucky did. I don't know, but
yep. They played in 2022. Iowa beat Kentucky 21-0. Shocking. There have been some good Music City Bowls in the past. But yeah, I like Iowa in this game. Like, give me Kirk Ferentz. Like, how good is Kirk Ferentz in bowl games? I feel like he's got to be pretty good.
Well, not last year.
Oh yeah, that's different though. They were ranked. Well, I guess Missouri is a ranked team though. That's the Iowa versus ranked teams. That's the issue that we get into. That being said, I'm still taking Iowa. Like I feel like they're slept on. I don't know why Missouri's getting the love here. 82% of people are picking Missouri. And I don't think enough people have watched Missouri play football this year.
Yeah, well, this game will probably be 3-3 going into the fourth.
Oh, yeah, big time under game.
Yeah, because like Missouri, you would assume could put up some points, but I don't know, man. I think out of any SEC team, like this is Iowa's favorite team that they would want to play. Like they can handle Missouri. I don't know about burden per se, but they do have a great secondary. So, I think that Drinkowitz under the radar year, kind of a lot of haters this year. Iowa more so was just the same, as in just bland and lame. So I'm going to go Missouri. I think they just have maybe a little more to prove because Iowa is just, they are going to be what they are.
That's fair. That's fair. They are what they are. That is true. December 31st, New Year's Eve, 4 bowl games plus the college football playoff. So let's talk through it. The Reliaquest Bowl, Alabama, Michigan. This is, I think, the battle of the Power 5 teams who just do not give a fuck.
Yeah.
I think neither of these teams, I don't think they could care less.
I don't know. I agree, but I also think this is, Alabama lost to Michigan last year in the semifinal, and like,
okay,
if
revenge
Michigan,
factor.
There is that. Then there's Kalen DeBoer kind of has to get them to try, and then there's the fact that Michigan didn't have a good enough year necessarily to just sit back. So I don't think this is going to be guns a-blazing, all-out effort. But I don't think it's going to be like this lethargic football game. I think Alabama's going to win. I think they're going to try. I think they're going to play hard. And Michigan's just, they're not going to beat Alabama. No way.
Yeah, I'm picking Alabama. I just think, like, Sharon Moore, nobody gives a fuck if he wins this bowl game or not. He beat Ohio State. Whereas Kalen DeBoer, like, 3 losses is already a bad year. Like,
yeah, not getting to 10 wins would be pretty disastrous.
Yeah. Yep. The Sun Bowl, Louisville, Washington. Cool.
I'm going to go Louisville.
Same.
Okay. Nice.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Washington fans, they bookmarked a tweet that I had. I tweeted out like all of my preseason bets. And I was like, Washington under 6.5. Like, I don't think they make a bowl game. And so much, you're an idiot. You're such a moron, blah, 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 blah. And like every time they would lose a game all season, I would just go through and like their tweets because I thought it was funny. And then at the end, they well, you were wrong. They made a bowl game. I was like, yeah, but my bet hit. So fuck you.
Yeah, I'm rolling in this dough.
Yep.
You're sad.
Yeah. So anyway, out of spite, I'm picking Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, I think Louisville is substantially more talented. Louisville, it's like the ACC might not be great, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
They get 2 teams in ranked 11th and 12th, but Louisville is the one team that if a couple different things went their way, could have absolutely been in contention. Like they are up there on the efficiency metrics. They are very competitive. They would be favored against 90% or more of all college football teams. They're good. Yeah, they're good. They had a tough year. They beat Clemson, obviously, which kind of showcases my point that they are incredibly capable of playing incredible. They crushed Clemson.
Yeah. Yep.
They're a good team.
The Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, 15 South Carolina against 20 Illinois. This game is really intriguing. Like, this is the big time, like, who's better, the SEC or the Big Ten? Because we're going to have our 6 best teams play each other. I'm really interested to see how this game goes. Like, it's a 9.5 point spread, but like, I don't think it's that far apart.
Yeah. I am surprised by the spread. And this is what happens in bowl games sometimes, is that the spread is based on the assumption that you're going to get the best effort from both teams. And I think there's a chance that South Carolina does not put forth their best effort. Not that they're boycotting the bowl game or anything. Like Lenora Sellers is probably going to play, right? Like they're going to play well. I'm probably going to pick them here, but I do think that this is a little different where they don't really feel like they have anything to prove, because if you go on social media, if you're a player at South Carolina, everyone is like, well, South Carolina should have made it, right? So you kind of, your ego as a human has sort of been appraised in a way where you weren't like, oh, they're doubting us. Like, no, they actually respect us. The committee didn't, but like, that's just sad. We're sad now. And I think going into Illinois, they're not going to be playing with this fire and this vengeance. And it might be a little more like Georgia when they played, Texas all those years ago. But I do still think that, most of the players are going to play, and South Carolina is not historically successful enough to just not give a shit about winning a bowl game, right? This is still a big deal. So I'm going to go with South Carolina, but the spread is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm going with South Carolina as well. I just think that pass rush against Luke Altmaier, I think, could raise a little bit of hell. So I like South Carolina in this matchup. I think it should be a pretty solid game. The Texas Bowl, Baylor at LSU. This game's a 1-point spread. And on paper, LSU is significantly more talented. And the question I have is this going to be a game where Brian Kelly can get the troops moving? This line, the line on this game, is a 1-point spread. 85% of the picks in the Pickem are on LSU, though. I have to, one last time, say fuck you to big game Brian Kelly. Well, congratulations on making the Texas Bowl, but you ain't winning it. Give me Baylor.
Yeah, so that it sucks a little because I actually also have Baylor. Just because I think Baylor has been playing really good ball down the stretch.
Yep.
Think about, I think we touched on this a couple weeks ago, but if they don't allow Colorado to have that, Hail Mary and win in overtime, which was unbelievable, we very well could have been talking about Baylor in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like they were so under the radar, and we were talking about Dave Aranda, like who's going to coach Baylor next year.
Yeah.
Right? And now we're talking about it's like who's Dave Aranda going to get in the transfer portal, So they've been playing really good ball. Their trajectory is up. But it's tricky because I was not expecting you. I should have expected you to take Baylor because you're a Brian Kelly hater, but I wasn't expecting it. So it kind of threw me off here. Now I'm kind of second guessing myself because that was kind of my super sneaky play. And we don't, we're not differing much here. We're far more picking the same than not. And I think I would be willing to take LSU, very slight favorite in this game, and sort of play it off as like, I hope LSU wins this so that when they lose to Clemson week 1 next year, it isn't like, oh, they've lost, a couple in a row or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fair.
They won the bowl game last year. So I'm going to go LSU, and I'm going to kind of parlay it in my mind as like.
That's a hell of a spin zone. That is a hell of a spin zone.
Spin zoning it super aggressively to like, okay, LSU fans are happy. So then they lose to Clemson, and it's like, yeah, but like, it's not that big of a disaster. If they lose to Baylor and then lose to Clemson, then it's all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, that is. I think either way, if they lose to Clemson, all hell's gonna break loose. That'd be like 6 straight season openers that LSU or every season opener under Brian Kelly they've lost. That would be.
I know. So then it sucks because like of course we're gonna lose then.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
I don't know.
The Gator Bowl. So January 1st, obviously the college football playoff games. January 2nd, the Gator Bowl. Duke at Ole Miss. I'm going to keep this real simple. Duke has a great transfer quarterback coming in. However, their quarterback who took them to a 9-3 season transferred out. And I just don't think they have anywhere near the talent to keep up with Ole Miss, even if Ole Miss has opt-outs or whatever. I don't think it matters. I think Ole Miss rolls here. They're 14.5-point favorites for a reason.
Yeah, so this is tricky because if Ole Miss was playing anyone else, like if you switched South Carolina and Ole Miss to me is the epitome of we were robbed
Hmm.
and we know we're good enough that we don't give a fuck about this game. Like we
Yep.
are boycotting. But Duke without their quarterback, like Duke is not a team that has depth, like
No.
this is not it's new head coach. Obviously they had a fantastic year, but they kind of escaped a lot. They needed some miracles. Ole Miss is so obviously better that I think that even if they don't try, Ole Miss will win, and that's a shame.
Yep. Minus 700 on the money line is Ole
Yeah,
Miss. So
there you go. Exactly.
yeah. The First Responders Bowl, North Texas, Texas State. This is going to be an offensive showcase. 65.5 is the total. It's the highest total amongst any bowl teams. I'm going Texas State for the vibes. They're a 10-point favorite, but this game, 65.5, so many points. So many points.
Yeah.
Actually, who are you on, Nick? I might just go the opposite. I think this is going to be just so many points.
I'm going to go Texas State.
Okay, so I'm going to go North Texas because this is, it's all the points. It's just so many touchdowns.
That works.
Love it. All right, Minnesota, Virginia Tech. It seems like these two teams are in drastically different spots. Like Minnesota's 7-5, Virginia Tech's 6-6. I think Minnesota is like happy to be 7-5 in a bowl game, and Virginia Tech has to be so disappointed that they're 6-6.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason and that reason alone, give me Minnesota. I also want to see PJ Fleck's bald head covered in mayonnaise. So
yeah, I think Minnesota is going to win. I do, but I'm a Virginia Tech as an ACC believer, and I also kind of do want to differ in spots that I could go either way on. Kind of like you just did. Like I'll counter that by just going Virginia Tech because, like, I will be rooting for the ACC, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are not like that, but I am pro my conference doing as well as they can in every spot.
Yeah. My conference is better than your conference.
Like,
I mean, that's what
Tech,
it is.
Like that's my rival. I want them to lose. No. I would like them to win. I would like all of them to win every game. So that
and that makes you the champion of the better conference because the ACC
champion of the conference that had no losses in bowl season. That'd be sick.
Yeah, love it. And then the Bahamas Bowl, January 4th, the nightcap, the end of. Which I think an 11 a.m. kickoff on January 4th, which January 4th is what day of the week is that?
I don't know.
It is a Saturday, so interesting. But yeah, 11 a.m. kickoff, Buffalo and Liberty. I have never felt more this might be I just unload the clip in terms of my entire bankroll on Buffalo. I think Buffalo beats the piss out of Liberty. I think this Liberty team is so fraudulent, so fake, the biggest phonies on earth. Buffalo by a billy.
Yeah, I saw that coming, and I picked Liberty.
You're a bitch. I saw that coming and therefore picked against you because you're a fucking idiot. Fuck you, Nick. I don't like how predictable I've gotten.
Well, there's some that I haven't. I didn't expect. I didn't think you were going to pick Baylor. I admitted to that. But yeah, so that I picked Liberty. Not that I'm saying that I'm confident by any means. I do agree that Liberty has been rather garbage this year, but this is still Jamie Chadwell and a kind of opportunity to maybe say like, hey, like, we're not going anywhere. We're all right.
Yeah.
Because for a little bit there, it was like, oh, Liberty, it is interesting. They have a lot of donor money. They are going rapid speed, exponential speed on improving their athletic department, by the hour. It's just, So soon enough, Liberty will be kind of a staple, I would say, in the same sense of Boise State,
Mhm.
where it's like, oh, if there is a power or a group of 5 team, it's probably Liberty. But
I will say
they're in the worst conference, so they're a ways away.
I will say they also seem like they would want to avoid or avenge their bowl loss from last season, because like that was ugly and gross and disgusting.
Well, yeah, they've approved it. Yeah, dude, if you retain your coach, quarterback, running back, like so much talent from the team that got absolutely dunked on by, who was it, Oregon?
Oregon,
right?
yeah.
So you get dunked on by Oregon, retain everyone, and then you lose to Buffalo. Oh my God! Like that allows the narrative of that was the worst ever New Year's Six Bowl contestant of all time, if that's the case. So you got to go beat Buffalo. You have to.
Yep. All right, so that's the show. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything going forward. So our show normally shows up on Wednesdays. However, next Wednesday is Christmas. So I would like to preface this. Merry Christmas to you all, if I do not tell you beforehand. That being said, the podcast may still drop. It may be the next day. We'll see. Just make sure to follow on our social medias. That way you can see, when that does happen. So there will be a show next week. We just don't know the date because we will have playoff games to recap and more playoff games to talk about. So it'll likely be a little bit shorter of an episode because we're not going to recap every bowl game. We might talk about one or two, but mostly playoff focused. So there will be a show next week. Just don't know when. Just keep in tune with the social medias. But yeah.
Merry Christmas. And Cody, you know what? We did a pretty good job. An hour 36 for the Bowl Bonanza episode, which is substantially shorter than last year.
Yeah, last year was like 2.5 hours. So,
yeah.
All right. We love y'all. We will see you in the next one. Peace.
Adios.